So still thinking about those words of Jesus where he said, I am telling you these things now before they come, that when they come to pass, you may believe that I am he, okay? He told them things that were not in a way relevant to their situation in that moment, but later when when the situation happened, then they recognized, oh, this is what Jesus was talking about. He knew what was coming. And I had a friend in the faith who I remember sitting in a message with, and he was saying, disappointed after the message, you know, these messages, they don't speak to my life situation right now. I am in this and that trouble, and I wish the word would speak to me in this. And by the way, I want to say I'm not diminishing the need of the Word of God speaking to us where we are, but I believe those messages that we heard in those days were actually speaking to our life situation, just not in the moment. Maybe it wasn't seemingly applicable. There was no seeming relevance right now. But what this brother did, sadly, was that he sort of just threw away the Word of God for his life. He just rejected it. He was like, nah, this is not for me. And then he went on and he was looking in different churches, went to different denominations, and was looking for the place where the message would be exactly to his situation. And I want to say that we can limit God we can sort of limit God in our lives this way. We can say in pride, and it's pride. In pride, we can say, oh, it has to be like if the message is not talking about, if the pastor doesn't mention specifically that, when you owe money to the IRS, then he's not talking to me. And that's not true. I remember as a young believer, I was hearing this brother, and I was thinking, I don't think so. I mean, so much that the preacher is speaking about, so much that I read in the Bible, it doesn't seem to be specifically for my situation, but I know God is not making mistakes. He's prepping me for something. He is warning me of something. He's helping me avoid something. That's not in my life and should never be. All right, so why not just take it? So when Matthew 4:4, in Matthew 4:4, Jesus says, man is to live by every word. So every word. That means even the words in the Bible that are not specifically for me, okay? Because if that were not true, then I could just look at the Old Testament as a New Testament believer and say, yeah, that's not for me. I'm not going to read the Old Testament. I'm a New Testament believer. Well, that would be wrong, because Matthew 4:4, we are to live by every word of God, okay? And that's what we're called to. So when you hear, especially if you're a new believer or an old, you hear a message and it doesn't seem to be applicable to your specific day, then you need to be able to say in your heart, in humility, you know what, Lord, you know what you're doing in my life. You know what you're talking to me about, and I'm just going to trust you for that, and I'm just going to wait and see. And this is going, I'm putting it away. I'm saving it for a rainy day. When that situation comes, I'm going to say no to the woman that would destroy my marriage, because you have prepared my heart. I'm going to say no to the quick, easy, I don't remember the third thing, investment that is of course not real, because I have read Proverbs and it wasn't talking to me it is not talking to me today, but it's going to talk to me one day. And when it will happen, I'm going to say, yay, you knew what you were talking about. Because if I do the other thing, then in pride I'm basically fulfilling that verse in 2 Timothy 4, I think 3 or 5, no, I think 3, where Paul said, people will look for teachers according to their own liking. Having itching ears, they will look for the preachers who will tickle their ears exactly where what they want to hear. And that's not how God works in our lives. He is personal. But also, we need to respect him enough to say, Lord, you know what you're doing. I'm just going to trust you, and I'm going to cling to your word, because that's what we need. God bless your day.